Welcome to the Happy Hippie Podcast, your weekly dose of holistic wellness and positive energy. My name is Amanda McCormick. I'm here to guide you on your journey to a more happier and fulfilled life. I am a yoga teacher, personal trainer, nutrition coach, and a women's wellness specialist. I'm very passionate about helping you transform your life, mind, body, and soul. Each week, we're going to explore practical tips, share conversations, and discover new ways to embrace happiness in every single aspect of your life. We'll dive into healthy habits, mindful practices, and simple strategies that can create lasting positive change. So get comfortable, take a deep breath, and let's begin this journey together. This is the Happy Hippie Podcast, where wellness meets happiness and transformation begins with you. Hey, welcome back to the Happy Hippie Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Amanda. I'm very excited to be here today. This week is Women's Health Week, so I decided to release an episode that kind of aligns up with that theme. This episode is very special. We're going to dive into something that affects every woman's life, our health and our wellness. Surprise. As a woman, I feel like we juggle multiple roles and responsibilities, and we can kind of forget to fill our own cup up. So that's why today we're going to explore around 5 common factors that might be affecting your health without you even realizing it, and then 5 ways to transform your well-being. So whether you're dealing with hormonal issues, if you're just feeling constantly tired, or you just want to improve your health and feel good, this episode is for you. We're going to break down practical, actionable steps that you can start implementing today if you want to feel more energized, balanced, and I'm going to say truly radiant from inside and out. And this episode is good information for anyone of any gender, so you're going to learn something either way. Grab your favorite drink, find a cozy spot, and let's get into these insights that are going to help transform your health journey. Before we begin, don't forget to follow the podcast and leave a 5-star rating or leave a review of anything if you find some value in today's episode. I do put a lot of work into these episodes, and I hope that you do find value. If you rate it or leave a review, it can help others find the show and get inspired too. So think of it as like a little bit of an energy exchange. You know, you're passing the torch on to somebody else. So thank you so much. I love you. Let's get started with our first topic. This is something that affects all of us. Stress. And on top of it, chronic stress, which is very easy to amass in the type of world we're living in, especially because I bet you're juggling relationships, career demands, social and societal expectations, how you should look, maintaining a perfect body image, and maybe feeling like you need to be like the quote unquote ideal version of yourself. If it sounds familiar, that's because kind of society's been pushing that on us for a very long time. It's not just in your head. It can take a real toll on your body, trying to live up to all these expectations and do all these things and meet your own needs and meet someone else's need and meet the world's needs. So let's dive into how this constant pressure affects our bodies and what we can do about it. Because good news, again, we can always change. You are never stuck. I feel like I say it every episode, and it's so true. So there's a physical impact I want to dive into. When we're under constant stress, our bodies produce high levels of cortisol, which is our primary stress hormone. I know we always hear that word thrown around, but I'm going to break it down for you in a very easy to understand way. And it's not just like me trying to sell you something where I'm like, your cortisol is high. Try this supplement. When we have cortisol, again, in our body that has a higher level, it's not just about feeling stressed. It can create like a domino effect in our bodies. So when cortisol is out of whack, it can kind of disrupt the balance between estrogen and testosterone. And when those two have a weird, they're not in the level they should be, it can lead to irregular cycles, low mood, low energy. Anytime you have a stress response, and there's a few different types of stress, which we'll break it down. A physical stress, which means you're like it could be exercise, like you're at the gym, that's a physical stress on the body. It could be if you're walking a long amount of time to work in the morning, or like you're on your feet all day, like you have a physical stressor. An emotional stressor literally could be a fight with a loved one or a friend, or maybe a boss yelled at you, like that's a stress form on your body. Environmental stress, that can be putting like products on your body that your body is not responding really well to. We'll talk about that in a bit, like toxic ingredients and products. I don't know. There's a lot. I can talk about that, but I just kind of want to jump back into cortisol before I stray too far away. So we'll come back to the different types of stress. But just know, anytime that you have a stress response, whether it's one of those things, your body uses up minerals, like your mineral reserves in your body, and vitamin C to create cortisol. Because, your bodies are cells. They're all made of different things. So your body uses magnesium, potassium, sodium. It uses vitamin C, and it creates these little cortisol blocks, like these little cells. And over time, if you're not like mediating your stress well, if you get irritated very easily and you don't have a way to come down from that, and you're constantly like spiking your body all the time, eventually your body is going to be like a coal mine, if you want to think of it that way. Your body's going to be digging out all these minerals, all this vitamin C out of your reserves to create cortisol. And if you're constantly going through a lot of stressors in life and making a lot of cortisol, your body's eventually going to run out of coal. Like, it's going to run out of those ingredients that it needs to make these little cells. It's not going to have enough to grab from. That's a little breakdown of kind of what happens in your body when you're creating this hormone. And on top of it, when your body is creating cortisol, it also competes with testosterone. Like I mentioned before, estrogen and progesterone are two very important things in our body that help maintain just like the balance and the equilibrium of the human body. There's a lot of roles and a lot of things they do. And if they kind of, get out of whack, it can mess a few different things up. So when our body is freaking out, it's down in the coal mines, it's trying to create all this cortisol, it actually competes with your testosterone as well. When your body makes a lot of cortisol, it actually has to steal from your testosterone levels because they're made of similar things to make the cortisol. So that's an example of how when you're high stressed, it can literally mess up your testosterone production as well. And testosterone, fertility wise, is a very important key to like getting pregnant. So that's why when people are trying to conceive and they go to the doctor, and the doctor's always like, try not to stress, which is like they should be doing a lot more I think, when it comes to preconception health. But doctors do say like keep your stress levels down if you're trying to conceive because of that reason. Like when you're super stressed out, your testosterone levels may be dropping down because it's kind of giving all that supplementation and all that information down to the coal mine so it can create cortisol for your body because your body's stressed and all the cortisol is running everywhere. So it doesn't actually have high levels of testosterone and your body doesn't like feel safe enough to like conceive. So everything's tied into each other. That's just like a fun fact I kind of wanted to throw in there just so you can understand a little bit more about it. But in general, when this happens and your body is making a lot of cortisol, your energy levels can plummet, you can feel exhausted, it can cause acne, you can have hair loss, and over time this can develop into adrenal fatigue, which can make hormonal imbalances even worse. And adrenals they're the two little like organs that are like near your kidneys, and they're in charge of making cortisol and other hormones that also act in this way. So that was a quick little breakdown. We can dive into hormones and stuff in another episode if you want to go more into it. But we're going to circle back to before when I was talking about anytime you have a stress response, your body starts to make more cortisol. And the stress response can be physical stress, emotional, environmental. Remember, they're not all stress isn't just coming from having a busy schedule or like a very hard mental load on you. It can come from what we eat and what we drink. If something takes your body a really long time to break down, your body's like kind of stressed. It's trying to break down this like big hamburger and it's like, what's happening? Like an example would be like a very fast food hamburger, not like a real hamburger that you can get from like the supermarket, but things that have a lot of processed elements to it that your body has to like deprocess and break down even further. That's an example. Drinking can be literally alcohol. It could also be super sugary drinks where your body has to take in all that sugar at once. So it's not, again, I'm not demonizing all these things. I'm just letting you know like your body takes a long time to break down some things. The more processed and further removed they are from like a natural source, it takes a while to break down. The products we put on our skin. So another thing that's crazy is like, for example, like self-tanner. Your body like breaks down the self-tanner and it can be a stress on it because it's like all these chemicals in your body's like what's happening and it's trying to break it all down. It could be from like body lotions that have tons of fragrances in it because sometimes the word fragrance on a product is the FDA that you don't have to disclose how many ingredients are in the fragrance, and I believe it's over 3,000 ingredients can be under the term fragrance. So like if you have a body lotion and it has like 10 ingredients, it can actually have 3,010 ingredients. This is just information. I don't want to like fear dump. I'm not trying to like scare or anything with this, but it's just an idea that sometimes we put things in our skin and our skin absorbs it and then our body has to break it down and it's a source of stress. And the main thing I always say on this podcast, everything is consistency. So it's the more you do these types of things consistently, your body will be super stressed. If you happen to like spray a perfume on you or get McDonald's with your friend one weekend, this is not going to like stress your body out like in like a lot. But if you're doing it on a daily basis, it might be agitating just a little bit to the body. But to combat this, the thing is we basically have to be resilient. We need to give our body what it needs to recover, to create these minerals, to replenish all these stores that are getting depleted. We have to have like a healthy way of being able to cope with stress. So I'm going to share some of those things without just leaving you with all that information. Here are a few different techniques that can help you manage stress and help you build a little bit of better resilience in your life, because there's always going to be stressors. We're just always going to have that in life. So learning how to cope with it is how we can get through that. Now, again, I am a yoga teacher, and breathwork is something that is really powerful. Pranayama, the name actually means controlling breath or controlling life force, because breath also means life force in the yoga world. So controlling your breath, we can use different ways of inhaling, holding, and exhaling to activate different parts of our body. The vagus nerve, which is in control of relaxation in the body, the parasympathetic nervous system. Our breath can kind of turn these things on. And I think I've mentioned it before in other episodes. Like when we let out a long exhale, a long sigh, it signals to our body that we're relaxing and can rest. Because back in like tribal days, that's what we used to do. If we were being chased by somebody with a spear and we were finally able to like evade them and hide behind a tree, and they like run by and they miss you, you can finally catch your breath and you're going to let out a large sigh. You're going to be like, whew, like you escaped. So your body can relax. You can kind of come out of fight and flight mode. So that's what breath work does. There's different types of breath work where you can fire up not your nervous system, but you can fire up like your energy, or you can calm your energy down. So this technique, the 4-7-8 breath technique, is a really nice breath technique where we can slow down our heart rate. We can kind of activate the parasympathetic nervous system and calm your body and your mind. And the cool thing about it is you'll remember this technique because it's in the name, 4-7-8. All you're going to do is you're going to inhale quietly through your nose for 4 seconds. So you're going to inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold your breath for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale completely through your mouth for 8, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Got confused there. But that's all you have to do. You're in for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. A lot of my restorative yoga classes, I'll do that in the beginning to help ground people into the moment and calm them down from rushing to yoga before we get into our poses that can help really restore the body. So that's a really nice way. Whenever you're in traffic, whenever you're getting mad, you can just do that. You don't even have to exhale with your mouth open. You can still do it silently. If you get mad at work, just go to the bathroom. It takes me about 3 to 4 rounds of that breath to actually feel the difference in my body. But like that sweaty feeling in your palms, your heartbeat, it calms down. I did it yesterday. I was getting a lot of text from my different bosses and stuff about scheduling, and I was kind of getting a little stressed. And I turned my phone over and I literally I was breathing in for 4 and holding and exhaling. And I did it 3 or 4 times and like I stopped sweating. My body calmed down. So that's a really nice technique to keep in your pocket. Another thing that's really fascinating is vagus nerve stimulation. So humming can actually stimulate your vagus nerve, which is near your throat. And like I said, the vagus nerve can help switch the body into like the more relaxed state, because again, it kind of ties in with the parasympathetic nervous system. It's like connected. So this is really good for stress reduction. When you hum, you're creating vibrations that turn on this nerve, which helps you lower your heart rate. It helps reduce anxiety and promote relaxation. So all you have to do is hum, like literally like when we're meditating and people are saying different there's different mantras you can say, like Om or Vam or whatever, and it's like you're stimulating that. And that's why in meditation, well, there's a lot of reasons why, but one of the reasons that we do like Om is because you're hitting that vagus nerve every time you're doing it and you're soothing your body. So you can walk around humming if you're getting pissed off at work. If you see me walking around humming at work, just know I'm trying to calm down from something. But you can walk around humming. You can also sing, like vocal cords in general can help calm you down. I'm like always singing in the car when I'm driving, and I'm realizing it's like I'm de-stressing from the day. But yeah, humming can help, singing can help, and then that breathwork technique, those are some really nice things to keep in your back pocket. Another thing I'd really love to recommend, I love book recommendations and I have so many, but just one for this episode because I feel like it helps align with this whole theory, literally, is the Let Them theory. So this book is really good because it can help you if you feel like you need to control everything in life. It helps you learn how your mind works, and she gives a lot of very simple strategies, just like the breathwork things I gave you. She gives you mindset shifts that I think can really help you switch off when you're faced with something stressful. So the second a situation comes up and you want to respond a certain way, I feel like once you read that book and you have these techniques in your head, you're able to like redirect. So without, I don't want to explain the whole thing. I just feel like having the book or listening to the audiobook, which is on Spotify, I think, can really help you out. So a lot of the times when things are happening and you're like freaking out that something's happening and you're not in control or somebody's perceiving you in a different way, it can help you come back to some sentences in your mind where it's like, all right, let them do that. Let me take a deep breath. And I feel like that format has really helped me de-stress in the moment. So I'd love to give you that in your toolbox. It helps you learn about how your mind works, which, as we know, is very liberating. I love talking about the brain, and it can help you release some of that control that's causing stress. So I definitely recommend that. Internal wise, I was talking before about cortisol and how we use different minerals and different vitamins to create it. We can supplement with those things in our diet, whether it's through real foods or supplementation. Vitamin C supports your adrenals. So if you feel like you're stressed out, vitamin C is a great thing to take in, whether you get it through cherries or oranges or you're taking a supplement of vitamin C. Electrolytes and trace minerals are very important as well. This is why I'm a big fan of macronutrients and micronutrients, because a lot of people just talk about eating your proteins, carbs, and fats, but sometimes we really do need these micronutrients in our system to help us deal with things like stress. So electrolytes and trace minerals are great things to have in your diet. You can just put them in your water when you're, at work. You can just do the droppers, you do the powders. They're very available. There's a lot of brands that make them. I'll list some of my favorites below in the description. I'm going to have a link to basically all the products I talk about in this episode today. It's not sponsored or anything, but I do have some brands I like for electrolytes and trace minerals that I find are really clean if you want to check them out. The next thing is, and this again is not sponsored, these are dead products I use. Minerals and Chill by Live Healthily is a really good product because it's made for body stress. So it has vitamin C and it has electrolytes in it to help replenish your stores if you're finding yourself emotionally stressed or really physically stressed. Those are really great. And then on top of it, adaptogens, which we've talked about before, they're herbs that can help your body handle life stress a lot better. They support your body when it goes into a stress state. So ashwagandha is pretty popular nowadays. That's an adaptogen. Ginseng, rhodiola, holy basil. Google adaptogens for stress and you'll see a whole list of things come up. You can get them in teas, like very cheaply. You can get them in teas that you can sip on during the day. You can buy droppers of them in like health stores, or like the whole body section of like Whole Foods has like tons of different versions of adaptogens. And a lot of like drinks put them in it nowadays, like canned drinks. So keep your eye out for adaptogens. They can help you as like a little, side supplementation with stress. And lastly, I think mentally, 2 other things you can incorporate. I'm not going to sound like a broken record, but I do recommend meditation. Even if it's for 5 minutes a day, it can really help you regulate your stress response and remember to come back to yourself and that you are in control. The more you do it, the more these lessons stick with you and the more you're able to be resilient in life situations. So I always recommend meditation. Yoga is also a great practice. There's vinyasa yoga, where you can be doing yoga where you're really focusing on breath to movement, or restorative type of yoga where you can pull up a YouTube video and do it for a few minutes in your room and really calm down. So I'm a yoga teacher and a meditation teacher. Of course, I'm going to recommend them, but there's a lot of science to back it up. So I would definitely recommend finding free videos on YouTube, a studio you'd like. I'm going to have some videos coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. Again, not a plug. These are just great tools to help you. And lastly, kind of switching into that mindset that you don't have to be on all the time. You can take breaks when you need them. You can have those days, you can have those afternoons, you can set boundaries where you'd like to be by yourself or engage in something that's going to relax you and not make you feel like you're on all the time. All right. And just like every episode, the first bullet point I always do is always a little bit longer because it's the most important. So everything else is going to be a little bit quicker. And we're moving on to number 2. So another thing that affects a lot of us is PMS and period pain. And there's a common belief that's been passed down through like generations in society that it's normal, it's part of being a woman. We're told to basically accept our cramps and the bloating and the mood swings and all of that as like monthly faith kind of. But these symptoms are common, but they're not normal or necessary. Like we can actually lower those and we don't have to be feeling suffering all the time. When you experience like very severe PMS symptoms, just like when you experience any symptom in your body is trying to tell you something. And these symptoms are indicators of usually PMS, like hormonal imbalances, not always, but it could be nutrient deficiencies, underlying inflammation in your body. So it can be those things. And again, good news, you have more control over these things than you think. You can support your body naturally in so many ways. Nutrient support is always going to be number one, getting your nutrients through whole foods. So focusing on magnesium-rich foods. And the thing is, when you have PMS symptoms, I would recommend during your luteal phase, which is usually it can be 9 to 10 days. Some people could be 14 days before your period. So usually 10 days before your period, I would start to experiment with adding some of these things in and then notice how you feel when your period comes, okay? So focusing on adding magnesium-rich foods like spinach, red meat, bananas, dark chocolate, increasing your omega-3s and healthy fats in general. Girl, eat your fats. Eat whole milk products if you can. Incorporate nuts, avocados, healthy oils into your diet. They're really going to help support your hormones. Your hormones are transported through your body through fat. So you need healthy fats for your hormone system to operate fully and for you to feel your best. Prebiotic foods and probiotic foods for gut health, because your hormones are connected to your gut health. So eating prebiotic foods, which is going to be fibrous foods, and then probiotic, which is going to be anything that's has that gut bacteria in it, whether it's fermented or yogurt. And it can really help hand in hand. Herb wise, because I love herbs. Vitex is a really nice herb. Evening primrose, raspberry leaf tea. Hibiscus isn't an herb, but it's a tea. So I'd also recommend hibiscus tea, raspberry leaf tea, and nettle tea. Nettle also is really nutrient dense and it has a little bit of iron in it too. So when you're bleeding, that's really nice. So red raspberry, nettle, and hibiscus are my favorite teas to go for my period. And I'm drinking them right now. I get my period in 5 days. So every day I make sure to drink at least one of those teas to help me out in the coming days. Turmeric is really good for inflammation, whether it's in a tea, a powder form, or the root. Dandelion is really good for liver support because there's a connection between your liver, your gut, and your hormones. Lifestyle practices. Okay, so moving on from, I was going to list more herbs and I was like, y'all don't want to hear it. I gave you enough. Lifestyle practices. 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep a night is going to be your best friend. If you focus on just relaxing a little bit more during your day and managing your stress and getting really good sleep and eating well, those are your biggest allies, okay? I'm giving you herbs and other things, but I'm saying if you get sleep, if you're allowing yourself time to de-stress and you're eating well, well-rounded whole foods, you're going to feel so much better during your cycle and every day. Other things that can help is castor oil packs can help with detoxification in the body, salt baths, lymphatic massage, whether it's on your face or your body. You can use dry brushing tools. And when you're in your luteal phase, slowing down your workouts, strength training can still be a part of your routine. Switching maybe to some Pilates and yoga, some light walks. Just listen to your body. When you feel tired, take that into account. Notice what time of the month it is. If you're near your cycle, maybe slow down a little bit. You can still move. Your body loves exercise and can help promote blood flow, which is necessary at this time. But just, being more in tune with your body, listening to what it needs. And try to minimize alcohol consumption during this time, caffeine intake, and ultra-processed foods. You don't have to be strict and cut them all out if that's not really where you're at right now, but just know that alcohol, caffeine, and ultra-processed foods can increase inflammation in the body, and that's going to make cramp-like symptoms a little bit worse. So overall, using these practices to help support you can help create a much more comfortable and balanced little cycle. The next point I want to talk about is around the world of exercise. So exercise balance and a little bit on strength training, because there's a lot of conflicting information out there, but it's crucial to understand that too much and too little exercise can impact your health. I know sometimes people talk about not exercising enough, and then sometimes you can actually be pushing yourself way too hard, which I have seen working in the fitness industry. I've worked in several gyms, I've done personal training, and I have seen people come in and have the knowledge in their head that the more they push themselves, the more they sweat, the more they exert, and the more they feel exhausted after a workout means they're going to get more out of it. And I've talked about this on the podcast before, where we need to find that balance of recovery with our movement. So we know working out too much can impact your health negatively, but let's break it down to what I call the exercise balance. So in terms of exercise, over exercising, especially when it comes to intense cardio or doing HIIT, high interval training constantly, again, if you enjoy these things, I'm not here to demonize any exercise. I'm talking about if you're doing them constantly, like 5 to 7 days a week, you're doing very intense exercise on your body, it can actually increase your cortisol levels because you're putting a load of physical stress on your body. And again, it can deplete your testosterone and kind of mess around with your hormones. On the flip side, too little of movement can negatively impact you in a lot of ways. It can impact your circulation if you're working at a desk all day or in a job where you're not moving a lot. It can actually lead to insulin sensitivity, which controls a lot of things. We'll talk about blood sugar, hint, hint, in a little bit. But insulin sensitivity can affect your hormones, it can affect your digestion, it can affect how you feel, your skin, all of that. And it also can affect your body's natural detoxification process, because when we move, we're pumping blood and we're letting our body basically work in the way it needs to, and it moves things out of our body. So when we exercise more, we're more regular using the bathroom. Really fun point to talk about on the podcast, but it's true. Our organs just work better. Blood is flowing through our body. We can break down sugars easily. We can break down the things we ate. So it's really good for you to exercise. Surprise, if you didn't know. But let's talk about the sweet spot, because I'm talking about too much exercise and too little. Aiming to, and I've also talked about this like formula kind of before on the show, aiming to get around 30 to 60 minutes of intentional movement daily is great. Even if that means you're just taking a walk or you're walking around your house cleaning on an off day, just trying to move your body in a very light way daily is very nice for your body. Aiming to get those 10K steps, if you're into steps, that's a really nice thing to do. A mix of Pilates and strength training is very good for a woman's body. And I'm going to talk a little bit about strength training, because strength training is so important. But I think the mix is finding a balance between strength training and doing stuff that you enjoy. That's, at the end of the day, that's what it is. If you enjoy running, if you enjoy Pilates, if you do like a HIIT class, or you like to go to like a Legree class, like solid core, do it. If you love hot yoga, if you love like sculpt classes, do those things. But just keep in mind that we shouldn't be pushing ourselves to our max every single day. And we do need to have a little bit of strength training in our routine. Even just 2 times a week using weights is going to impact you in so many ways. So let's nerd out a little bit about strength training. It's so crucial for women's health, okay? Not just because building muscle is good. It really creates a foundation for long-term health. If you work out now with weights in any form or way, resistance, it is going to impact you when you're a lot older and help you out in so many ways. One way that not a lot of people know about that weights helps you with is with blood sugar regulation. So strength training helps improve your insulin sensitivity, and that means it helps you maintain stable blood sugar balance levels throughout your day, which can reduce your risk of type 2 diabetes. It can help with your digestion. It can help with your skin. So just by using weights and putting that pressure on our bodies, it can help us with our insulin sensitivity. Same thing with pressure, bone health. So it increases your bone density when we strength train. Especially, I believe, under the age of like 32, if you're strength training regularly, like on a weekly basis, that's going to help, because our bones basically stop growing and they stop creating like new cells around that time. And so everything that you did basically up until that time is very important, and that's going to be the foundation. And if you're older than that, this isn't like a feared thing. You can still strength train and it can help with your bones, but that's why strength training is so important when people are older and they're really frail and they go to like physical therapy, because it really helps with your bone density. So the more that you work out now in the current day and age, it's going to increase your bone density, which helps prevent osteoporosis. It can help you in the future if you fall, like as an old person. I know we don't think about these things now, but it really adds up and it helps you a lot in your future. It also helps strengthen your joints and your connective tissue, which can help you avoid chronic pain when you're older. So I can talk about benefits of strength training forever. It's very important. So blood sugar and bone health are 2 things that, as a woman, strength training is very important for. In general, it can help you improve your body metabolism and your composition, which is how your body is like built and quote unquote looks. So like, yeah, aesthetics, but you also can get enhanced balance and coordination, which ties in with bone health, because when you're older, falling is like the number one thing that is like the downfall of people's health when they fall and they can't recover. So having a good sense of coordination, proprioception, and like balance is very, very useful. When I do yoga classes and any exercise program, I really put balance work in there. Even if you don't know it, it's like very subtle balance work on like different levels, like even just like doing a lunge type movement and moving your upper body so you're like stabilizing your core muscles. I'm very big on putting those into my planning and my sequences because they're very important for people. No one likes to hear it. Nobody likes to do it because it's not as fun. I love balance work. I think it's so fun. But everybody just wants to like, do squats and deadlifts, and they don't want to work on like single leg movements and things that are going to really help them out in the future. But balance is so, so important. You also can improve your posture and reduce your back pain when you lift weights properly. And you're just, again, and this can be just light resistance work. Any type of resistance work is really good for women. You also get increased energy levels throughout your day. So there's a lot of benefits to strength training, and I think it's one of those things that we need to be incorporating. Even if you're only doing it 2 to 3 times a week, that's enough. Like, you can just do 2 full body days if you're not doing it already. Any questions on it, I can always help you out with it because, again, I am a personal trainer. I'm a women's wellness specialist. I'm all up in this area. So if you have any confusion with that, feel free to send me a message. I'd love to chat and help you out. But overall, all you should be focusing on is getting 2 to 3 strength training sessions a week, focusing on proper form over heavy weights. Listen to your body. You can adjust the intensity as needed. And again, combine it with some other gentle movement or anything that you enjoy. Like whatever you like to get your body moving, do it. But just so you know, resistance training, like I said, is very useful and very important for women's health. Moving on to our final 2 points, I'm very excited to discuss this next point because I've actually gotten suggestions to make a whole episode about it, and I feel like this section is going to cover it really nicely for you in a short amount of time, so it's a win-win. This section is all about understanding blood sugar balance and how it ties into our hormones and why balancing your blood sugar is important as a woman, just actually for anybody, but just because it ties into so many things. I used to hear blood sugar balance and I used to think like years ago, I was like, okay, that's related to diabetes and that doesn't apply to me, but it's not that at all. So for the sake of this episode, we're just going to describe blood sugar balance as, think of like scales, okay? We want to keep it even most of the time. By doing that, by eating like regular meals, eating whole food groups, and like, I'm going to give you some more in-depth examples, but eating, the way that we're going to talk about in this episode, it keeps those scales at a nice balance. When we go, and I'll tell you about it, let's say we go too long without eating, or we have a short amount of sugar enter our body really fast, the scales will spike. So one side will go up super high. And the most important thing we need to know about blood sugar is that whenever we have a high spike, it has to come down so it crashes. So if we have a small spike, that means the crash is really small and we may not even notice it. But if we have a really high spike, it's going to come down and we're going to feel it. And the whole thing with blood sugar is over time, we want to try and minimize our spikes. We want the spikes to just be like a little boop, boop, like a little up and down, kind of like a heart rate monitor. It's like a little like whoop, whoop, not like a big whoop, whoop. I don't know how I'm describing that. I'm describing it through beeps and boops, but you know what I mean? Like on like a hospital show, the little heart rate monitor. We want to try and keep them in the middle. We want to keep it nice and steady. We don't want those big spikes that go up and those big crashes, because there's a lot of studies that show people who have constant, like over time, constant and consistent, because that's the thing with health. It's all about things that you're doing constantly and consistently, either good or bad, ends up leading to something. So if we have a lot of high spikes and crashes over time, that can lead to health issues. So it's almost like it creates like a cascade effect, I'd say, and it impacts your hormones. Like it can increase your cortisol production over time, which we were just talking about earlier. That's not a good thing. It can disrupt your estrogen balance and your testosterone. And without even going into all these hormones, if it's affecting a lot of different hormones in your body that are in charge of a lot of different things, it's probably not that great. So that's all we're going to really dive into for like the background about it. Like I said, I don't know if I said it. Maybe I did. Oh my God, I'm going crazy, you guys. The Glucose Goddess book, I'd recommend following her on Instagram or reading the book to get more of the science-based things behind blood sugar. But we're going to talk about some common blood sugar disruptors and then some practical strategies to help you with your blood sugar balance that are super easy and that you can do every single day. So some things that can cause those really high spikes are irregular eating patterns where we skip meals or we go way too long without eating. Your body works better when you're regularly eting meals and, like every 2-3 hours. And a meal can be like a banana. It could be like a little snack, you know? So when we're skipping meals or like fasting per se, that's why fasting doesn't really go with blood sugar too well for women, because our blood sugar is tied to so many hormonal things. It's better for us to just make sure we're eating during our day and enjoying it. So regular eating patterns can be something that disrupts your blood sugar. Another thing is having really high carb snacks without protein or fat. So this is known as dressing your carbs, where you have a carbohydrate and you put, like you have a rice cake, but you put peanut butter on it. That's going to help your body digest it a little bit better. And this isn't the end all be all. If you want to have a snack that's just carbohydrates, you can do it. But remember, we're just talking about in the long run, like when you can, and that's how I think about it. When I can, I'll try to add a little bit of protein or fat to something. If I can't, no biggie. That's life, So that's the mentality I think you need to have, so you don't go crazy with all these things, is if I can do this right now, I'm gonna. And if I can't, we're not gonna stress over it. When you're hungry at the airport and there's really nothing to eat, but you're really hungry and you'd rather nourish yourself than restrict yourself, give yourself something to eat, okay? The next thing is excess caffeine consumption, especially on an empty stomach, can kind of disrupt your blood sugar balance. I feel like we always talk about caffeine, but just consume your caffeine mindfully. Try to have something in your stomach beforehand, like we talked about earlier, and try not to have 10 coffees a day. That's always going to be good health advice. Refined sugars is another thing that can, disrupt your blood sugar a little bit. When you're eating very heavily processed foods or heavily sweetened beverages, that can affect it. But let's dive into some practical tips for blood sugar balance. So these are some effective strategies before meals. Fun fact, I think I talked about this in another episode, but having fiber before you dive into carbohydrates can mitigate a spike and keep your spike a little lower and keep it at bay. So consuming any form of fiber first. So if you even have like vegetables on your plate, just, gnawing on a few of those vegetables before you jump into the rest of the dish can actually help you regulate your blood sugar balance. A side salad. I make, even with my breakfast, I usually do a little bit of arugula with my breakfast, and I'll just like eat that. It takes 2 seconds. And then I go in and I eat like, my toast and all the other stuff. And it can help you, it helps you feel better, because when you have blood sugar spikes, your energy drops. You don't usually feel as great. You get that very bloated feeling. So consuming fiber-rich vegetables first can help slow down the breakdown of carbohydrates. Another thing that's very similar to fiber is vinegar. So taking 1 to 2 tablespoons of vinegar, whether that's apple cider vinegar or anything else, before you eat can also help. This can also be achieved by like using a salad dressing. So literally a salad with like a vinaigrette on it can help your digestion so much and help you with your blood sugar balance. They also sell little droppers. Organic Olivia has one, and so does Clear Stem, little apple cider vinegar droppers. They also have digestive bitters and herbs in it, which further helps the digestive process. Clear Stem is an acne skincare brand. And like I said, blood sugar is very tied into your health, especially as a woman. It can affect your skin, and so can digestion, because that's where your hormones are and that's where all that stuff is happening. So they actually make an apple cider vinegar dropper that you can eat. You put it on your purse before meals, and when you're out, you just put a drop on your tongue before you eat, and it can help with big meals and help you break them down. So yeah, vegetables, vinegar, and if you want to, because again, sometimes you don't want to, and I get it. I literally get it. If you want to, on your plate, try to eat your protein first before you start to eat your carbohydrates. So if you have chicken on your plate and potatoes, try to get a few bites of the chicken in before your potatoes to help slow down those protein spikes. It's not protein spikes, sorry, those blood sugar spikes. But if you really want to eat the potatoes, eat them, This is just advice, and I follow it sometimes and other times I don't. So we're just being frank there. Meal composition wise, include protein, healthy fats, and fiber when you're creating your plates, and aim to get 20 to 30 grams of protein at your main meals. Don't stress about it all the time, but your 3 big meals, try to do it. Another fun thing is you can add cinnamon to meals. That also helps with blood sugar regulation. And yeah, timing strategy wise, I'd say the same thing. When you wake up in the morning, when we were talking about that stress state, try to eat something within an hour of waking. Even if you don't really have an appetite, you can try and snack on some vegetables. That's what you want to do when you wake up. But I wake up and I will eat a carrot. Like, a carrot is so good for you, and I'll usually just like chew on a carrot. This is weird advice, isn't it? And you can, cheese and crackers has a good amount of protein in it. Like, you can just gnaw on some crackers and cheese in the morning. I keep using the word gnaw, sorry. But yeah, try to eat within an hour of waking, even if it's like a small yogurt or something. And yeah, I think that's probably my only timing tip, honestly. Last thing I want to talk about is supplements that can help support blood sugar balance. So magnesium is good for so many things, and most Americans are deficient in magnesium. Not all, but most. So magnesium does help support insulin sensitivity. So supplementing with magnesium either in the evening or in a multivitamin is very important. Berberine also helps with glucose metabolism. That can be a cool supplement to look into. But again, try the food tips first. What you eat and how you eat is more important than supplements that you can buy on the shelf. And I'd also say B vitamins because they can help with energy, but these are just not fix-alls. I just wanted to share there's some supplements that you can add in. And we made it to our final point. So we're going to talk about hidden hormone disruptors in our everyday lives. These are known as endocrine disruptors. So you may be asking, well, what is an endocrine disruptor? They're also known as EDCs, I believe. So sometimes you can see people talking about it and they just use the abbreviation of EDC, but they're substances that interfere with our natural hormone function. So they're usually like chemicals or fragrances that are in products. They either mimic our natural hormones, because think about it, our body breaks things down. You know, it knows things from this earth, it naturally breaks things down. And then when we create things in a lab, our body doesn't know what some of these chemicals are, and it tries to break it down the best it can. But they may have similar compositions to some of our hormones, so then our body breaks it down thinking it's a hormone, and it just sends things out of whack. So some of these EDCs can mimic our natural hormones. Some of them can block hormonal signals. So they, again, just disrupt a lot of stuff. They disrupt our natural hormonal rhythm at the end of the day. And when we're taking in a lot of these products, our body has a natural detoxification pathway, right? We have our kidneys, we have our liver, we have all these organs that help us like flush stuff out of our bodies. When we're putting a lot of these products either in our skin, in our foods, in our hair, and our body's trying to break it down, it overwhelms our body's natural detoxification pathways. So that's why when you see people talking about detoxing, that's what it is at the end of the day. It's just we have these natural organs and functions in our body, but we can be overwhelming them sometimes with these products. So common sources of EDCs, personal care products, a lot of conventional makeup and skincare can have these chemicals and fragrances in it because one, they smell good, or you have to think about it from the end of like a brand's. Like if you want to make a lotion that feels nice on your skin, you need to have like a texture. So they'll put like gums and texturizers into these products so they feel nice and they sell well, because everything's all about marketing. But your body is going to break it down and it's going to overwhelm your body. So a lot of makeup and skincare, unfortunately, a lot of regular feminine hygiene products, they put like fragrances or dyes because they want it to look nice and bright, like tampons and pads, but our body breaks it down in a bad way. Standard deodorants, body lotions, anything that has a lot of heavy fragrance in it that isn't like totally natural, those are going to be a little bit of those endocrine disruptors. Household products like plastic and food containers, conventional cleaning products, which are literally just chemicals, regular scented candles when we're breathing it in, which isn't the best. Again, you can't control it sometimes, but just the education is good to have, you know? And the last one that I think is a big one is like laundry products, like the things that we use, like dryer sheets, scented laundry detergent, those little fragrance beads, all those types of things. So let's just talk about some practical steps. Again, practical steps for reducing exposure. I'm not going to tell you to go rogue and throw everything out and avoid everything, because it's where you can, where you can make little changes is all that counts. Making these changes doesn't have to be overwhelming or super expensive either. My number one tip is to start small, focus on one category at a time, and over time, these small changes can really add up to like significant improvement in your hormonal health. I probably started, honestly, maybe like, I was educated about all this stuff 2 years ago, and then I slowly started weaving out products. Some of my products aren't 100% clean, but I started weaving things out with the most like important things. So you don't have to overhaul everything at once, okay? Let's go for like a more sustainable approach. My favorite thing is like starting with the empty, replace, upgrade kind of method. Wait until one of your products runs out, okay? You don't have to throw everything out. Wait until you use up a product and then try to find a non-toxic alternative to replace it. And then just keep repeating that over and over again. So when you run out of shampoo, then you can look into maybe some cleaner brands. Same thing with body lotion, soaps. I like to start with the things that are going to be like touching your body. So what was the first thing? I think the first thing I looked into was natural deodorant because I use it all the time. And then I also looked into natural dry shampoo because I teach workout classes like for a living. So I'm constantly needing dry shampoo. And then soaps, like hand soaps, because I use my hand soaps all the time. Then I went in and I found body wash, body lotion, things I was putting on my skin a lot. skincare. Then I moved on. Then I found some like cleaning products, candles. But like, again, it took me like a year and a half to like do that. Some of my favorite brands, again, these are just me, that like this is literally what I use, so I'm just sharing. Primarily Pure is a really good brand they have like skincare products, body products. I've tried their deodorants, and their body scrubs and lotions are really nice. They have face products, and I did used to use them, and I'm going to be so real with you right now. I have like acne prone skin, and I don't think that their face products have like pore cloggers in it still. So if you have like sensitive acne prone skin, I don't suggest their product. They have coconut oil in some of their face products, which is a known pore clogger. So I did try it. Like I did use it for a while, I can't lie, because I was like, no, it's going to work. And it didn't. So I don't use their face products, but again, maybe they have a product that's more up your alley, or you don't have acne prone skin. Trust their products, love their products. My favorite thing I use is their lip balm. They have great lip balms, and they're really cheap. They're like under $10, and they last forever. So totally recommend them. Just Ingredients is a great brand. It's in the name. They sell everything made of like pure clean ingredients. Their protein powder, oh my God, their protein powder is so good. Totally clean ingredients. It's sweetened with like date and monk fruit. So good. They sell things that you can ingest, like they have pre-workout protein, electrolytes, all those types of things, but they also have body lotion, and they have like toothpaste and like teeth whitening powder. So they have a lot of cool things. Definitely recommend Just Ingredients. And lastly, Live Healthily. It's like a one-stop shop for low toxic products, and all these brands are pretty much on there. So feel free to check them out. They're really good. They're kind of like at wholesale Amazon, but for natural products. So anything on her website, I would 100% like back up and say they have really good products. But if you want some affordable swaps, I did create an Amazon list in this episode description where I put my favorite non-toxic candles, cleaning supplies, beauty products. I even have like safe self-tanning options, natural deodorants, chemical-free laundry products. So I tried to compile it all in a list, and let me tell you, like when I first started looking for these products, I was not looking to spend more than like $20 on anything. So I do have a lot of really nice affordable options, and I'll leave that in our description for this episode. So if you're looking to make some little swaps, check out that list. I have some good ones on there for you that hopefully you like. So these are the 5 pillars that I kind of wanted to wrap up the episode with, focusing on our menstrual health, hormone balance, movement and strength training, the importance of it, our blood sugar balance and regulation, and reducing our toxin exposure. They form the foundation of what I'd say is like just an overall holistic, very like vibrant health for women. These are the things I'm into. These are the things I've been putting a lot of energy into researching and talking with people in the field about a lot. And there also is science to support it, so I'm not just yapping up here. I would love to hear how you're incorporating any of these elements into your wellness journey, if there's anything that you think is really important as well. If you're listening on Spotify, drop a comment sharing which area that you're kind of focusing on or what topics you'd like me to explore further. You can also always message me on Instagram. I'd love to create more content, whether it's like a full podcast episode about these things, or maybe you just want some more in-depth Instagram content about it, like blood sugar balance, favorite cleaning supplies, anything like that. Let me know. I would love to share. That's what I do. And I'm still running polls for our upcoming merchandise drop that we're going to be dropping probably by the end of June. Again, if you're listening on Spotify, there is a poll under this episode that you can vote on to let me know what type of merchandise you would like to see for the show. Otherwise, shoot me a message on Instagram, Happy Holistic Hippie. That's my username. So send me a message, let me know, be like, girl, I would love to see some mugs or like tote bags, whatever. I just want to kind of get a collective. I already have an idea of what I'm doing, but I really want to see what you want. You know, like that's why I'm making the merch. It's for you. So let me know. Stay tuned. We also have some incredible summer offerings coming up soon. I've been developing a lot of things to help you level up on your wellness journey. Can't wait to share more with you soon. But for now, take care and have a lovely day.